Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
Snake, I've got a new mission update. It's called Operation Tap That Ass. Now listen, you yank, put that snake to good use and make me proud.
Well, actually there is a change of plans. It's now Operation Fork Eater. No, I don't recommend you do that. But for today's challenge it seems suitable. Not to eat a fork of course, but to try kill someone with it.
You've lost your mind.
Forks are the greatest invention known to man since wormhole Fulton technology. For everyday use to avoid greasy fingers and all kinds of different things. Snakey Boy actually comes across one in jail, you know, so he can practice CQF, close quarters fork, and even eat a quick snack. That's definitely not going to make him crap his pants, since food in jail is rotten.
Something about the whole thing stinks.
So it seems like these challenges are all the rage, so I thought why not take part in these wonderful challenges amongst the rest. Unfortunately, we cannot beat the entire game with the fork, since in New Game Plus the only thing that carries over is your uniforms and face paints. And, well, sadly no weapons apart from the Single Action Army and the Patriot. But that doesn't mean we can at least put the fork to use in some challenges. There is, of course, say, or for instance, if we could beat some bosses, we couldn't really take them out with a fork given on the fight layouts. For example, Ocelot's on the other side of a mountain with a crevice in between, and we can't exactly go jab him in the face with a fork, or sadly even use it as a boomerang. Same goes for... Well, yep, because once again we don't have a throwing object. We can't exactly get close to him to make him feel the wrath of the fork. And this just explains itself. Try use a fork against a Metal Gear. You'll be there for a very long time, I assure you. Just ask this guy. But rest assured, all isn't as bad as it seems. There's actually some good news, because after the prison section we can still use the fork. The first challenge we get to use this wonderful fork on is Volgin.
Volgin?
AKA Mr. Bisexual. Or simply Blockhead will do.
Come on, you blockhead!
So this was quite a difficult challenge, and admittedly I had to restart a few times. I was playing on a hard difficulty. Could you imagine trying to use a fork on a Soviet madman with 10 million volts? You're practically meant to go to dinner with these things. Anyway, after trial and error, it's safe to say trying to stab him with a fork head on really doesn't work. So most forks are stainless steel in our kitchens, and to be fair, a plastic one really wouldn't do shit. But have you ever tried to put a fork inside a toaster? They're perfect for conduction of electricity, and this was another problem I encountered as well. On a few attempts I realised trying to kill Volgin may not be possible given on the timer, and the damage not being substantial enough to do the job, considering I can't use any other weapons. I did figure out that once I took Volgin down with CQC and used the fork whilst he was on the ground worked pretty well. Also I had to throw the smoke. It was an essential way to break him out of an animation to spare some seconds without costing his health or stamina. CQC was a must to use the fork repeatedly, and once the pattern was figured out it was easy enough. Another obstacle was Ocelot. Whilst it's great he was being the ultimate bro cheering us on, it also made my task more difficult to defeat Volgin, because whilst he's whining he's still covered in electricity, so I tried to stay as close to him as possible to trigger his attacks and keep his attention on me. I finally made it to the second stage where Volgin's attacks start to change. Typically we're greeted with him using his overhead charge shot where bullets that spread. It's easy enough to avoid, but trying to instantly CQC him, it doesn't really work as well. I sort of had to wait a few moments to slam his ass to the ground. But the good news is as well is now Ocelot is no longer there as a distraction, but the time on the clock is still ticking. At this moment I was at the edge of my seat, knowing that the crucial moments were counting down before me, before everything blows to smithereens. It's fair to say that with Ocelot's distractions and a few lousy hiccups and simply not being quick enough, it was too late.
It's not over yet!
So this was my final attempt before I would vow to never use a fork again and throw my entire set in the kitchen straight into the trash. This time I was more than battle ready and actually found some little ways of saving more time, and I knew what to look out for. And this time when Volgin uses his gun arm, he is open for attack, but it means running directly behind him. I just found it easier to be shocked, and as soon as I get up, quickly smash him with CQC. Second round was the same again, only this time we had actually made a lot more progress. I managed to stop Volgin from wasting time and keeping close to dodge his attacks, waiting for crucial moments for him to let his guard down, but truth be told, the clock had me really anxious because I knew at any minute that I could potentially fail or make one mistake and it could be game over. Nearly at the 1 minute mark I really started to make mistakes and I got caught in a ruthless combination that made me vomit last night's dinner. I may have had a few seconds to lose given on how great things were going, but I knew I could not fuck up now because this was literally the definitive moment if I was going to beat him or not.
Flawless victory.
All done! Yes!
Oh, seriously, right now, this place is about to blow.
Snake,
What do you have in your hand?
Fork. Why?
A fork? What'd you do with your knife? It ain't dinner time yet.
Sigint, you have to think bigger than that. A fork's good for more than just eating dinner.
Oh yeah? Like what?
It's a weapon.
A weapon?
Yeah, I can use it with the weapon button the same way I use the survival knife. Of course, it's not going to be much use for CQC. This mission is all about procuring on site. I have to use whatever limited equipment I can find, any way I can to achieve my objective. So I have to make the most out of every item by adapting them to different situations. Take this fork, for instance. At first glance, it looks useless, but it can be an effective weapon if used the right way. You have to learn to think flexibly and see all the different possibilities.
Think flexibly, huh? Thanks for the advice, man.
No problem. And the best part is, if I use this to spear a snack, I can eat it right there without having to put it in my backpack first.
I knew it. You are using it to eat.
Ready?
So now we face the mother of special forces. We're talking about a woman that's lived a life that most wouldn't dare, serving in a world war. What's more to say than the woman is a badass, and I kind of feel like I'm destroying her legacy and legend, entirely killing her with a fork, but at least it makes Big Boss's legend look even better. In this battle I had some struggles. It was way different than Volgin, and truth be told it was easier. Countering the boss was key, and then I could unload a combination of strikes. The method was pretty straightforward: unload some fork attacks and hide behind a tree, because you're guaranteed the boss is going to fire off some rounds, and my job was to keep in cover and watch what the tree she runs to. Later into the fight we head into the 5-minute counter. Unlike the fight with Volgin, there was more time to spare, but where the boss's health gauge was usually is that mark, but thankfully I was quick enough to take a decent chunk over that mark before she actually announces the time.
5 minutes.
I mean, sheesh, the fork is really more deadlier than I would have expected. Just look at the boss's chest. Good job she had them puppies covered up, otherwise I'd have popped them like a balloon. There's no denying that the voice box is sloppy at times, and I'm not a perfectionist. And the boss did catch me. And every now and then, and sometimes I couldn't counter every CQC move, but when I failed, just mashing the stick helped with breaking loose, and rolling into her and stabbing her on the ground worked a charm. But after a while I still had plenty of time with 1 minute remaining, making this challenge not so difficult. And yes, before you ask, because yes, there is always one of you, I was not playing on easy mode, so you can chill, bro.
Well done, Snake. I thought I'd leave you a private message. I noticed you walked off abruptly, and truth be told, that was a little rude. But I understand you got played like a fiddle. Anyway, Snake, wonderful job. The fork you used to defeat the boss is being placed in a museum and has caused a chain reaction of people buying forks, as well as the president announcing a Fork Appreciation Day. And oh, by the way, Snake, I hope you liked your secret getaway. I'm sure you and Eva made some wonderful grandchildren for me. Well, tally-ho, old friend, until we speak again.
Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and learned something about forks. And if there's any future challenges, you can suggest them in the comment section down below regarding the series. Please feel free to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. And to you old-timers of this channel, thanks again for all your support, and until we meet again.